America, and welcome to Invent America, because America invents.
This episode of Invent America TV is brought to you by America's Inventor Lady and Home Talk USA. Home Talk is a proud member of the King's Broadcasting Network and has been bringing to you the best of America's home-based product innovation since 1998. This segment of Invent America TV is brought to you by the law offices of R.P. Baraska. RPB law offices have been bringing corporate-level legal expertise to the independent inventor community for more than 20 years. For all your inventing legal needs, trust rpblawoffices.com.
Welcome back. This is the Invent America show right here on Invent America Radio on the King's Broadcasting Network. We want to welcome all of our Home Talk USA audience as we continue this hour. Don't forget, the third hour, we're going to have the Made in America part of the Home Talk USA radio family. And now I'd like to welcome to the show. She is no stranger. She is the co-host of the Invent America show herself, because like she always says, America invents. The inventor lady herself, Rita Crompton. Welcome, Miss Rita.
How are you today? It's really great to be here.
Yeah, it is. A lot going on, a lot of information out there. The trade shows are coming and gone, and now it's the summer is here, and now I'd like to talk about some different subjects that you've been planning for a while now. And I know this segment, you just want to get into the nuts and bolts of inventors. So what's on the agenda? What I'm going to put it on. I'm going to give it back to you. What do you want to talk about?
Well, inventors will call me and say, I've got an idea. All right. Well, you've heard me say this multiple times. Ideas are like belly buttons. Everybody's got one, and it doesn't matter how cute yours is. I can't sell a belly button. Same thing with ideas. Lots of people have ideas. So, I walk through, with inventors from those early stages on a regular basis, trying to say, okay, what can you sell? And so as we're working through that, it's like, how do you get teed up? How do you get from the idea to putting money in your bank account? Well, it is a long, hard road, and that is for sure. So, it's fun to watch them start getting money that they can put in the bank. For some of them, the journey is scary.
Yeah, it is. And it's a process. It's a blueprint. And that's what we've been trying to discuss here, how you take that idea and you follow that blueprint to eventually get your product on a licensing deal, or actually manufacturing the product yourself. And we've talked the difference of when you should maybe do a licensing deal compared to manufacturing it yourself. But let's just go back a minute to the basis that you said have the basis of this. If you have an idea in your head, you're going to have to try to figure out how to put it on a piece of paper. That's the first step. You got to get it written down. It goes from there to a piece of paper, right?
It really does. And that's one of the things I always tell inventors is like, all right, you've got an idea. Okay, let's start with this. Describe it. Put it on a piece of paper. Make your own version of a prototype. Duct tape and cardboard does a real good job. Legos, I've seen some really good ones out of Legos. But you've got to get it out of your head and into something three-dimensional to see if it can be real. I can do drawings of life on Mars. It doesn't mean that I could actually prove that there is life on Mars. So what we look at then is, what is it? And then, one of the critical steps that inventors frequently miss is there a material improvement to something that is already out there? All right. One of the examples that, I've used, a hammer is a hammer. They've been around for, since the beginning of mankind in one shape or another, because people are hammering stuff all the time, and so is your hammer better? Is it different? Does it make an improvement in the industry? And I think, one of the things that got me going on this topic for today is that, there was a lady, she's so passionate, she's filed intellectual property, and it's like, I'm really not sure where the research was on her product, but it's like, a lot of wasted money there, because it's not a game changer. It's not something that, if people are looking at, a product that's, been out there, tried, has got reviews and everything on it versus something that's new and you're just getting started and it's
Yeah.
$20 more, guess what? They're going to go to the tried and true
Yeah.
because yours isn't making a big improvement.
Yeah. And, and like I always say that, you have to put it down on that piece of paper. And that's where, but then yet, it's also, you got to remember, it's not just a new product. It could be an existing product that you can make better. We talked about that too, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Don't you wish you would have come up with the flashlight that wraps around a pole?
Yeah, that's right.
It's still a light coming out of the end of the stick, but now you don't have to hold the flashlight in your mouth to use both hands. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I always tell folks. We've got one gentleman that's getting ready to have a search done on a sink product. All right. The way you keep your sink from clogging. And, I asked him, I said, why is yours better or different than what's already there? And for some inventors, it's really, you don't have to have a patent to go to market. You can make something. You may not be able to get a patent on it because it's too close. It's a slight improvement or whatever. You want to make sure you don't get a cease and desist. So that search can go ahead and help you say, okay, yes, I can use this intellectual property because it's expired. I don't want to get a cease and desist from somebody whose patent issued 5 years ago.
Yeah. But, we also talked about how the ideas come from. And sometimes it's not just the idea that came in the head. You hear this story all the time, is that I went to the box store looking for whatever, went down, they didn't have it because it didn't exist. Then they said, wow, I couldn't believe this is not available because it's not there anymore. It happens a lot.
Oh, it
and
does.
then then now they go down this journey to say, I wanted this tool, I wanted this technology, it's not there. So let me see if I can put something together. And then it goes back to the story we just said.
Yeah.
Get it on a piece of paper. Yeah.
The best inventions I see are people who are working in the field and say, okay, we need it to do this. We need something that does this. And then they invent that thing. Mike Wood with Wood and Wood gutter diverters. I've had him on, I think a week ago, and he was really good at talking about the fact that he installs gutters and has for decades. And he came up with these 3 different tools that make it better. The gentleman we had on last week, he worked for Hasbro's toys, for goodness sakes, designing toys, and came up with, an extension of one of the ones that's been out there for a long time. But now instead of just floating in the water with it, you can build the Eiffel Tower with it. So, cute things that we have really seen make a difference that were material improvements in the industry. And, it's so much fun to watch the inventors get through that and get out there and get selling and making then the money off what was originally an idea.
Yep. Yep. That's true. But again, that's where it has to start. And whatever, how you get to that point, there's really no exact science as long as you can get to that point.
The steps are pretty straightforward. Where I see inventors making mistakes frequently is that, there's so many, our theme for this month in our Inventor Roundtable meetings is scams, scoundrels, and saboteurs, because for the number of inventors that are out there trying to get a product into the marketplace, there's probably an equal or more number of scoundrels. And, their patent gets published and now they get this string of mail from scammers. And, so teaching inventors how not to get off the track, don't get off the right path. Because it's easy to say, oh, somebody told me I need to have a business plan. You don't have a business yet. Why would you spend $1,500 for somebody to do a business plan for you when there is no business yet? You don't even know if you've got a product you can sell. Some of those things where it's like, oh, I need to get, let's get signed up to do social media. Not yet. Go to a professional trade show. It's cheaper than social media. Find out what you've got, who's interested. Find out whether or not you can actually sell this to someone. Be smarter with your words. And so, there's a tight learning curve, but a pretty straightforward learning curve for the guys that say, I have an idea, and now I want to see if I've really got a worthwhile idea.
All right, we're going to take a short break. You're listening to the Invent America show, Invent America, right here on Invent America Radio on the King's Broadcasting Network. We're going to take a short break. We're going to have our first guest. This is the Cajun contractor, Michael King. We're going to be right back with a guest, a topic. It's all about education information. So y'all don't stay tuned. We're going to be right back. Y'all come back now, you hear?
This segment of Invent America TV is brought to you by SearchQuest Patent Search. SearchQuest provides for a comprehensive patent search that searches the entire world and not just the U.S. Patent Office. Make sure that before you spend those big bucks having a patent written, you've done your due diligence by getting a comprehensive patent search. Use SearchQuestPatents.com for all your patent search needs. They scour the world for you.
Welcome back. This is the Invent America show on Invent America Radio on the King's Broadcasting Network. If you just joined us, we're getting ready to have our first guest, Miss Rita. But before we can get our first guest, we have to get a sponsor. So who's paying for the hours so we can put this good education information out there?
This segment of Invent America is brought to you by Aztec Washer. It's the revolutionary and innovative roofing product since 1968. Seal it right, seal it tight, and these guys know what they're doing. AztecWasher.com since 1968. And my guest for this segment is Jean Scarberry. He invented this really cool thing called the Snow Angel. Jean, thanks so much for being with us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Rita.
All right, so tell everybody, this is not laying down in the snow and swinging your arms and legs around to make a snow angel. This is removing the snow, and you didn't have to do the shoveling. So what is the snow angel?
Snow angel is basically a small leaf blower type blowing mechanism that continues to blow air as the snow comes down. So we're never having to remove snow, we're deflecting the snow. So at the end of the night, if we had nighttime snowfall, you wake up in the morning and your driveway is totally clear. The Snow Angel has the advantage of a heated driveway, but about approximately 1/100th the cost.
There you go. And the thing is that somebody can go and get the Snow Angel now without having to dig up all their concrete to put in a heated driveway.
Exactly. And what it boils down to is that you can take any driveway, and by buying enough Snow Angels, you can take care of a 30-foot driveway, 60-foot driveway, 90-foot driveway.
Excellent. And for a lot of older people living north of the Mason-Dixon line, I would imagine this would come in really handy.
Definitely, especially anybody north of Interstate 80 across the United States becomes the perfect customer, because what happens is Snow Angel will take care of the snow coming down, so no one is trapped in their homes. And for the elderly and for the impaired, a snow-filled driveway means I can't get out, go shopping, go to church, visit with my friends. So I'm trapped.
Yeah, and my mother's older. She lives in South Dakota, so she's at that I-90 level. And if she didn't have good neighbors shoveling her out, she'd be in, exactly like you said, she would be snowed in. And oh yeah, there you could be snowed in from, Labor Day to Memorial Day, Mother's Day, if you're not careful. And I know that they had big snow warnings. When we used to live in Denver, we would get snow warnings on Mother's Day. It's like, come on, I'm planting flowers. All right, so how did you come up with this? I mean, it's like you wake up one day and you say, oh, gee, let me, see if I can put a snow blower, a leaf blower inside a rock so it's going to automatically blow snow away.
No, what happened was I was 70 years old at the time. I'm 6'6", and I'm wearing chains on my feet, and I have a very good snow blower blowing snow off the driveway. And two things occurred to me. Number one, if I fall down at my age and my height, it could be ugly. I could break something, and elderly breaking bones is not a good thing. And secondly, when I looked back where I had just snow blown, there was still snow on the ground. Snow blower does not take away everything that leaves scum on the ground, which is why you have to salt at the end of the day. So I said, there's got to be an easier way. And what I literally did was I borrowed a leaf blower, put it out the night before snowfall occurred, turned it on, let it blow air all night long, And when I woke up the next morning, the area where the leaf blower was blowing totally cleared the snow. It was totally down to bare concrete, in my case, bare asphalt. So I said, okay, the concept can work, but it took us quite a while to find the mechanism to make it work. We tried a long tube with holes in it, and we could not predict each jet. And then we wound up coming up with the idea of saying, if I have a leaf blower and the leaf blower is moving air left to right like windshield wipers, as the snow comes down, it's being deflected across the driveway, and the snow accumulates on the other side of the driveway. So that allowed us to say this works. And then the trick was finding the right person to help me do the prototypes.
Excellent. So, what's been the hardest part of this process?
Well, two parts. One is getting the general concept done. I was fortunate to find someone who worked at Carnegie Mellon University and was an engineering support person building prototypes. So this is the only person I know who can write code, who can do drafting, who has his own 3D printer at home, and who understands mechanics. So he was a perfect angel in disguise. And he got so intrigued with it all started out with us talking about it in the summertime at my cottage, saying, how can a ducted fan blower move all this air without this much power going into it? And that the question intrigued him. He actually built one without even me telling me about it. And he said, this really works. So over time, we've been we started out buying a product that was used for mock airplane and jet engines. And we could buy different sizes to find out how much power we needed. And the challenge was finding the right amount of power to get the snow across and still be able to plug into my routine AC on the outside of the house. Most houses have a 15 amp outside circuit. And the goal was, how do I move snow and not have to rewire the whole flaming house?
There you go. So you called him your angel. Did he realize that you named the product after him then, since you call it the Snow Angel?
No. Snow Angel came before that because it's very much like if you envision sitting there with your arms going back, sweeping back and forth, half an angel, if you will, moves the snow.
There you go. And that's the first thing that I thought in my mind is, people, swinging their arms, my kids swinging their arms back and forth, moving that snow around. And so, as you're going through these steps then, and you're finding, these terrific people to help you out, it allows you then to get from the, I have an idea moment, all right, through the different stages of, okay, now I know I've got a really good idea. And now I've got somebody that's going to help me prove this with a prototype. And for a lot of inventors, it's that proof of concept prototype that really gives them a final, momentum to get the next distance. So when we come back after this, taking a break to pay some bills, we're going to talk a little bit more about your journey and what you've accomplished. So everybody, stick with us. We will be right back with Jean Scarberry and the Snow Angel after we go and pay a few bills. And if you're an inventor out there and you need some help, give me a call. My number is everywhere.
If you're an inventor or you know an inventor out there who would just like to be able to have a conversation with other inventors, join the Inventors Roundtable. It's free. The meetings are virtual, so you can be anywhere in America and talk to another inventor. And for a lot of folks out there, understanding the process, being able to ask questions, getting good service provider information is critical to the inventing process. So, got questions? Want to join? It's free. inventorsroundtable.org.
And thank you so much for being with us for this segment of Invent America, because America invents. And this segment is brought to you by TrueView, the only accurate 3D real-time imaging blind spot mirror. So when that semi is coming up next to you and you're in a smaller car or any type of vehicle, you can see exactly where it's at and when it's going to enter your peripheral vision. Saves lives. You can find your TrueView at cargocatch.com. TrueView, accurate blind spot imaging. So my guest for this segment is Jean Scarberry. He is the inventor of the Snow Angel. All right, Jean, what's been your feedback? You've got a proof of concept prototype. You can get it out there, show folks. What's the reaction been?
but positive. I mean, what's delightful and rewarding is to say people see it, and 90% of the people get it. So it's like saying once they see how easy it is. So the premise is Snow Angel by itself sits on the side of the driveway and it looks like a rock. And when the snow falls, the rock lifts up, exposes the blower mechanism, and the snow is deflected. When the snow stops, the rock closes down, which protects everything and makes the system innocuous. It doesn't sticking out like a sore thumb. So when they see that, they get it. They're really intrigued with it. And the next question is, well, where can I buy one? And when we propose pricing to them, so far the pricing we have suggested seems very acceptable. So to cover a 60-foot driveway is about under $1,000. And it runs off a 110 AC, so there's no big deal about wiring. And it can sit out there year round, or you can put it in and take it out of the house because the Snow Angel, each one, weighs less than 7 pounds. So it's easy even for an elderly person to pick it up and store it in the basement. And when fall comes, put it back out, hook it up, and when the electronics turn on and say, okay, we have snow, out it comes. So that's been very positive response.
Yes. It always helps when the potential consumer says, oh, wow, when can I get one? As opposed to, I don't think I'd ever buy that.
Right.
So what's next, Jean? What's your goal? Are you going to start manufacturing yourself? What is it that you're looking for?
Well, at 83, I don't want to start another company. So I have a group of engineers who are either retired or semi-retired who have been helping me with my system, so which has been a very great blessing. And what my goal is to find a corporate partner who will build it and market it. Or getting shelf space at places like Lowe's or Home Depot are hard. So customers who already have, manufacturers who already have shelf space, already have relationships with the big stores, become the logical next step. And ideally, a manufacturer who's already making some leaf blowers, he's already got the heart of the system. Why I think Snow Angels should be an important project for them is that the critical elements, the injection molding problems, are all in the leaf blower blowing mechanism. The housing to hold Snow Angel and the rock are very simple products. So that going from Snow Angel proof of concept and design to manufacturing is a lot shorter time and a lower cost of investment.
And I think you're on a good track there because, if you went to somebody who was already doing a snowblower, all right, they've already invested a lot of money and time into creating their snowblower. So frequently we say that they're not a good match because they don't want to compete with their own investment. But now you go to the leaf blower folks, like Still, all right, that was the name that you had mentioned to me before, and they don't compete in the snow business, the snow removal business yet. But now they could. Now they could have something that was a year-round product as opposed to just a spring through summer and fall product. Now they can compete with the snowblower folks and expand their market. And I think that's a great way. I mean, they're not the only ones that do blowers by any means. So as we go out there and we look for then companies that do leaf blowing products, all right, now they can do snow removal products. I think that's wonderful.
Well, what's nice about the snow business is it's a higher profit margin business, which unfortunately is a cruel element of this investment, is that snowblowers and leaf blowers, are becoming a very gutted market. A lot of products are coming offshore at much lower prices. So if you're trying to build a premium product with premium performance, you can't get a premium price for it. Whereas if you can remove snow for a lot less money than a robot or a heated driveway, and you do a better job than the robots and than any regular snowblower, so high performance, lower cost should be a win.
Yeah, and the only one caveat on that is when the robot is 45 and he gets a fresh apple pie for blowing my mother's snow, so that is definitely one of the advantages for the young guy next door helping my mom out. Is, gosh, she makes a really good apple pie. So as you're going through then the different types of companies and looking then for what you're describing as licensing. So then a company is going to, instead of partnering, all right, which means you carry half the financial burden, a company that licenses, it means that they're going to basically pay you to rent your intellectual property. They're going to make it, sell it, and send you a check as opposed to sending you an invoice.
Correct.
And after visiting with you a couple of times, I take it that you would rather receive the check than the invoice.
Right, because again, at 83, I don't really want to get involved with all the other hassles. I've been in the manufacturing business all my life, different corporations. My last stint was in Philips Corporation, and I've got over 40 plus patents to my name. So I understand the marketplace and I understand all the stuff going on. And I don't want to have to deal with the tougher end of the business, which is the finance, the investment, and maintaining exclusivity.
There you go. And it's like, what were some of your other patents in? I don't talk to a lot of people who have 40 patents.
Well, my background, I tell people inventors are inherently lazy. We look at something and say, there's got to be an easier way to do this. So my background, it was initially an inflatable trade show booth, emergency suction, emergency airway, and then when I was at Philips, helping develop patient interfaces for ventilating patients on CPAP.
Wow, that's pretty high tech.
Yeah.
So how did you, all right, so that stuff, science, engineering, high tech background to angels. You're making angels now.
Right. And again, so my problem is I'm in a market that I don't have the experience in. And I think that's what all inventors are going to run into is that, if you've got a true breakthrough product, it's going to be tough to find someone who is willing to take the risk of dealing with something that they haven't invented. And unfortunately, some of the major corporations have a fair amount of firewalls that they build up to prevent someone coming in and saying, well, gee, I showed them my invention, but they were already working on it. And you find that, there's a lot of corporate stuff going on that they're trying to improve it, but most inventors are not strung up because of all of legal and the other things going on within the corporation. So they're free to think outside the box. And again, we're lazy. We say there's got to be an easy way to solve this.
You're right on that part of there's so many corporate barriers to getting in and being able to talk to the right folks. And for a lot of inventors, when they're working in their field of expertise, all right, that doesn't include necessarily manufacturing or marketing or being able to go out there and do selling 100% of the time because they've got a daytime job or they're older and retired. And so it really challenges the independent inventor on how to get stuff out there. And the ones that I think that are the saddest, all right, is when they've gotten out there, they've gotten some success with their product, they hit a wall and they just aren't willing to ask for help. And so then the product, it stumbles and then it disappears. And so some of those, and we've seen some of those in the last couple of years that, truly had some momentum going. And then the inventor just, instead of asking for help when they needed it, figured I'll do it myself. And sometimes I'll do my own self, like my grandson used to say, isn't always the smartest way to go. So anyway, Jean, thank you so much for being with us today. We are looking forward to helping you get that licensing deal. Everybody stick with us. My industry expert is Don Skaggs. He has been doing this almost as long as I have. So we will be right back.
TrueUp, easiest way to hang your pictures. We all know how stressful picture hanging can get. TrueUp comes with everything you need to level and hang pictures with no damage and no mess. Just peel, apply the adhesive to the back of the TrueUp mount and press firmly. Remove the remaining adhesive. Use the level and press and hold for 3 to 5 seconds to attach the TrueUp mount to your wall with a strong hold. The TrueUp frame adapter is compatible with most frames on the market. Apply the adhesive strip to the adapter, stick, and your frame hangs easily on the wall mount. This lets you adjust your picture side to side for perfect placement every time. The possibilities are limitless, and it's easy on your walls. Picture hanging can be truly a one-person job. TrueUp, the future of hanging is here.
And thank you so much for being with us for this segment of Invent America, because America invents. We've been doing it for hundreds of years, and we will continue long into the future. My guest for this segment is Don Skaggs. Mr. Skaggs, how are you?
I'm great, Rita. How are you?
I'm just fine. It's so good to have you on with us today. I was going to say it's so good to see you, but obviously,
Oh.
we are on the radio, so I get to hear your wonderful voice. You
Oh,
know,
well, thanks for having me.
tell our audience a little bit why I consider you an industry expert.
Well, I've been doing this a long time. My backstory is I bootstrapped a company out of a farmhouse in Eastern Kentucky, a place you're not supposed to make high-tech products for the pathology laboratory industry, but we did it anyway. Nobody told us we couldn't. And so we grew that, made it into a factory, had employees, grew it 23 years, sold it a few years back. And then I had one of those what's next for me moments. And that was I want to help other people do what I did. And that's come up with a great idea, market it, make it a real product in the marketplace. And that's what we did. And that's what we're helping other people do now at Acture.
So that is wonderful. So when somebody tells you, Don, I've got an idea, what do you advise them? How do you tell them to get started?
That reminds me of an old movie, and I don't know if very many people remember this movie. It was called The Untouchables. It had Kevin Costner, the guy that played James Bond. I can't remember his name all of a sudden.
I can see him. I can see him
You
in
can
my
see
head.
him.
Yes.
You can see him. So Elliot Ness, he's going after Al Capone, and so his right hand guy, which is the guy that used to play James Bond, takes him into this church and sits down and says, "I want to ask you a question. What are you prepared to do?" And I love that line because that's what I want to answer and tell other inventors, entrepreneurs, people with an idea for a product or a business, and say, what are you prepared to do? Because too many folks out there, I think, they think, oh, I've got this idea, it's written down on a napkin sketch. All I have to do is wave it in front of somebody and boom, I make $1 million. And that's not how it works in real life.
No
Now,
kidding.
you need to be prepared to do the work and prepared to build your team, to have other good people around you that's in your corner. And I think that's very, very important. And become part of a group, just like the group we have here at Acture Network. And it's we have something we call the Inventor Entrepreneur Workshop, where it's a closed non-disclosure agreement. Everybody goes around the room. We introduce everybody. Then everybody gets a chance to talk about, this is what I have, this is where I'm at, this is where I'm stuck. And instead of getting one person's idea or opinion, you get an entire room full of people, and it becomes a brainstorming session on steroids. And that's the kind of people that you need to have around you. And that makes all the difference. And we see it every day here.
Yeah, I know. I've told inventors a lot of times, come to the inventor roundtable meetings, and a lot of times the best information you get is from the inventor sitting next to you, because they've been there, done that, and they've suffered the punch. Well, why should you take the punch if somebody else can tell you, don't, be careful, this punch is coming? And one of the ones I've been hearing so much of lately, and that's why we've got the next 2 meetings coming up, are dealing with scams, scoundrels, and saboteurs, is because when those patents get published, the scoundrels are out there contacting the inventor, and they don't know it's a scam. They will put the USP logo or a trademark logo on it, so it looks like it's official letter from the USPTO, and it's a scam, and they don't know because they don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's what people a lot of times don't realize. They'll have, they'll think, well, surely they're going to treat me right. They've got this stamp on their website or something. And actually, bad people are going to do bad things. It doesn't matter what patent you have or what law you have, what law is on the books. It's not going bad people are going to do bad things. And so you've got to watch out for that. And I think you have to prepare, and I think you have to be lean about how you prepare.
Yeah, that's a key word there, is if they are going to send you an invoice up front, you want to know why and what it's for. So, the value of the patent, we're coming down to the end of our segment here, but, why should an inventor even determine whether or not they could file or should file?
And I think there needs to be a very, very lean process for that. We teach a very lean process for how you go about it. There's something called a provisional patent that you can file, and that's going to give you 1 year to answer one question. And that question is this going to sell? But there's a process of preparing for it and filing it, and not running out first thing to an attorney's office and saying, here, make me a patent. Here's a napkin sketch. And they say, well, sure, it's going to be $10,000. But you see, a banana, a patent's like a banana. I mean, you can go to the grocery store and they'll give you a big cart when you walk into the grocery store, and there's a big place where you can buy bananas, and you can fill that cart up full of bananas if you want to, and if you go to the checkout, they will sell you every banana in that cart. But guess what? Are you going to eat all those bananas? No, they're going to go bad. So your timing and your strategy has to be right when you're getting ready to protect yourself with intellectual property or a patent.
Yeah, I always tell inventors, this is the first thing you want to know. Are you infringing on someone else? Getting a cease and desist isn't any fun. Yes. Is yours a material improvement? Is it going to make a difference in that industry? And then, can it be made at a price the consumer is going to pay? Because consumer is still God when it comes to selling. Because if they're not willing to pay your price points, you're not going to sell. And then it doesn't matter how many angels you've got. So anyway, Don, thank you so much for being with us today. You do stand as my industry expert when it comes to talking about inventors and giving advice. I appreciate it very much. Thanks, everyone, for joining us today. We will be back next week with more stories on getting products from mind to market. We will have new inventors and industry experts. So join us and have a wonderful week.